I do not know where to begin. Hello and welcome to the NT Recap. We aim to discuss just enough news to recap the week that's been in and around the NT. It is Friday the 26th of June and boy has it been a crazy political week in the Territory. Keeping up with all the news has been nuts.
It's been extraordinary, and what it's done is pushed the opening of the borders to the back pages or
100%.
inside. You've had an extraordinary change. You've had an ICAC investigation come down for the first time where the Commissioner says that...
We've had a bunch of high school moments from all of the politicians saying, you promised me this at some point, now I've got this and now I'm going to put an investigation against you.
Yeah.
It is like going back into the realms of high school. It's amazing for comedy. Thank you,
great
Northern
for comedy,
Territory.
But I'm not sure how good it is for the Northern Territory.
Yeah, true.
Well, we'll wait and see, because the other one, of course, is the Territory Alliance coming out and announcing that they are definitely anti-fracking. Now, that makes them the only anti-fracking, unless you count the Greens. So the Greens obviously have been against it. But that is really going to change not just the election, but possibly the floor of Parliament and what happens in the next few years.
Yes, but I mean, we will discuss all of these things, but I wanted to say, it is also a great time to be in the Northern Territory when you think about what's happening in Victoria and how they are going back to restrictions because potentially a second wave of coronavirus. And we in the Territory are moving forward with taking steps to the new normal and freedoms and all of that stuff. I mean, this week, again, we saw brilliant things happen and calendar events that had been put off, now back on the table. We had the movies are happening. I'm excited to go.
Yeah, I love a good midday movie by myself. Like I do enjoy the company of my friends, but my secret favourite thing to do is just go and eat a giant bucket of popcorn by myself. Yeah. And now I can do that.
I prefer a cinema alone is the way to go. Yeah. So there's plenty
I like going with friends. But
people are getting a little bit relaxed. I mean, like, it seems to me like a few weeks ago we were like, oh, these new restrictions, this new normal is going to be so tough. Everybody seems to be fitting in just perfectly well.
Exactly.
And everybody sort of maintains a bit of distance in the shops and all those sorts of things. And somebody in the health industry I was chatting to this week said to me that one of the things that's happened is that we have many less just straight flu cases in the Northern Territory because we're doing all the right things. We're washing our hands, we're staying distant, and all those things, all those protocols.
And everyone got the flu shot when it was available. You guys both got yours? Okay, well, I have the flu shot. I'm the only safe person on these couches. But that's the thing, people have been a lot more aware of these sort of illnesses, and especially kids. Like, I was at a school the other day and they were all singing like this hand washing song, and that's become like the new jam.
I know, even the Wiggles came out with a hand washing song. But apart from the movies coming back, we also had award nights. For example, the NT Architecture Awards happened. Do you know who won top prize?
No, I don't.
Darwin High, hey?
Darwin High, their STEAM building, they won. But also the GAN, which you talked about originally, they're coming back, or you can start buying tickets, I believe, for it to come back when the borders open on July 7th, which is a big controversy now with Victoria happening, is should we open the borders? That is a big issue that people are now starting to come around. They were excited about it at the beginning, but now they're kind of like, should we do it?
Well, we'll still end up with a few weeks of protocols, like sort of border controls, even after that date. But South Australia got into the thing where they said, oh, look, everybody in. And then, days later, looked at Victoria and said, yeah, everybody in except for Victoria. We're going to stay closed for them.
It's that disappointing sibling, isn't it? Like Victoria right now, it's just like everyone's done the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate when you've got big populations. It's always going to be harder to prevent these spreads from happening. But I do think that the borders are the one thing that I feel are like our little safety net, and the moment that's lifted, that is a whole other thing that's going to change all of our behaviours. And I think the complacency that exists right now in the Territory is going to be challenged when those borders open.
Yeah, it'll be really hard when those borders open, potentially again on July 17, for everyone to go back into real making sure that you're 1.5. I know people have it in the back of their minds, but really making sure every time you hand sanitize, when you walk in somewhere, when you walk out somewhere. And of course, you've got other people making the constitutional argument. Well, it's unconstitutional. And you've got businesses going, we need you to open up. But then you've got other people going, well, do we really want businesses to open up again?
That is what you're talking about. You get one case in the Northern Territory, and that changes the complete complexion of the whole thing that's happened in the last month.
The week I had like every single waterfall in Litchfield to myself, no Southerners at all. I don't know, like there's something really quite special about this time.
Do you do any work at all. You're travelling all the time. You're either in schools or in waterholes.
Look, it's all research. It's all a tax-deductible research assignment. But, lots of things are going on at the moment. Like, it's all changing. Like, even politics is changing at the moment.
Yes, tell us about we all know what's been happening with the anti-fracking declaration by Territory Alliance and Terry Mills. But, Margot, what's your spin on it?
Well, my spin on it is that what it does is it makes a genuine opposition on the floor. Now, both the CLP and the ALP are going to the election. They've pretty much both said, look, we'll go ahead on the basis of the Pepper report from 2018. We will follow the protocols and we'll try and get the industry going. The licences will exist and the explorations will exist. Once somebody on the floor of the Parliament says, we are definitely against it, that changes, and it changes in a couple of interesting places. If you look at Johnson as a seat that was run as a by-election just a few months ago, the Greens put as preference last the ALP because of their pro-fracking stance. Now that says to me that the Greens will preference
Territory Alliance.
Now that puts a shake-up into quite a few seats, not least of which Steve Close, who's running in the seat Johnson for Territory Alliance. And you get an extra few people on the floor. It means that the CLP haven't really got somebody on their side if they end up in opposition. So it's going to really change the whole thing.
That's such an interesting thing there where you said they're definitely against it. I haven't seen that kind of clarity to say they're definitely against it, because wasn't Robin Lambley saying, we'll just sort of...
Well, I think they've said they're definitely against it, but Lambley said never say never.
Never say never. But that's a sort of, like, to me, that's a little bit of a political out, because you're waiting because in 5 years' time you might... At the moment, the theory is that Terry Mills has been openly supporting medium-term fracking, even in January this year, has written articles or whatever. So for him to change, I think, is the big change. But I think the change is because he doesn't see it as a long-term economic winner.
Yeah. Consider this. I had someone say to me the other day that Norfolk Island was similarly in debt to what we were, less so. I think we're considerably more in debt than Norfolk Island was. And they said to me, the federal government stepped in and they are taking over Norfolk Island. Same with, not with the territory, but we're in debt, a big deal of debt.
And fracking will bring you $1.8 billion.
Exactly. Would the federal government come and step in and go, well, look, you're managing things really badly over here in the Northern Territory. There is the possibility for minerals to make a bucket load of money. Should we step in and take over and manage the territory? That's some things that people are saying out there in the community, that they are comparing the Northern Territory situation to Norfolk Island and what would happen
You think that the federal government looks at us and goes, I think we should run that. I think they're more looking at us going, that's the dog that can't be retrained. Like, let's just let it bark at everybody at the fence line and deal with the council letters and worry about it later.
Yeah, well, I guess everyone is going to be worried. Watching this space. The Northern Territory has never been watched so much with coronavirus and what we're doing up here, and now with Territory Alliance, the CLP, Labor.
Well, it makes it an exciting run for the next, the run to August 22nd,
totally.
Because that was a spinner I think people hadn't put in there, and I think the interesting thing is to see how things read out in the ballot box as well with Kezia Purick. The ballot box is really what is going to decide what's happening right now, because people are going to decide, in Kezia's case, long-term servant of the seat of Goyder, from a political pedigree that is pretty impeachable, and she has support there, and now she's in this situation where the ICAC allegations are over her head, the DPP may be getting involved. Whether or not her supporters stay with her in Goyder and she still holds her seat as an independent, that's just one of the side shows that's going to be on as we lead up to the
I think the next paper will announce Territory Alliance's Goyder member, because they don't have one at the moment, and then the person in opposition has an allegation that he's got hasn't lodged his tax returns for 10 years. So it's a murky seat, that one, and it's a watch your space seat.
Murky. And look, can I just play the card for some of the people that might be watching this going, ICAC. What is an ICAC? Is that something you can get a cream for?
It is the independent Commission Against Corruption.
Okay, yes. And you were saying before that it's the first ICAC we've ever had in the Northern Territory?
Well, we didn't have an ICAC, whereas other states did. We got one quite late. This is sort of the
2018
first major report that the Commissioner has brought down. It was into the behaviour of Kezia Puric as the Speaker of the House, and the essential idea that came out of it was that it was corrupt behaviour. It was that she was involved in corrupt behaviour and then needed to answer to that. And then that means that she has to leave the seat, which brings us to an unusual situation, in fact a first in Australia, where you now have the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the Northern Territory Parliament from Indigenous nations. So
amazing.
it's
so
progressive
in so many ways up here. It's
but
great.
The Black Lives Matter thing is something we were talking about only a week or so ago about whether or not the people would go to the protests. That is a statement of Black lives and well-achieving Black lives. And Nari Kit and Chansey Paik, young. I mean, I remember that I wrote this down because of 2016 he said, I'm young, I'm gay, I'm black, and I'm a true blue Territorian. And now he is the Speaker of the House.
Yeah,
it's brilliant. Territory.
But what is happening in and around the Territory?
You just keep loving the Territory because it's dry season, right? There's heaps of things to do. School holidays begin, so
today, this week.
Yeah, this week. So unlucky parents, you now have to contend with that. But also there's some really cool things that are happening as a part of the school holidays. So the drop-in centre in Palmerston has just opened. That's going to be having an opening day on Saturday. Yeah, so that's being run by the YMCA and Larrakia Nation. And I think it's a really awesome thing to have this space for people to go, to find support, to find help. It won't only just be a drop-in centre, it'll be an educational space. So helping with young people with things like sexual identity and education, those kind of things.
And I think that's so important because if we invest money into Dondale Youth Detention Centre, people will end up there. But if you invest money into these centres which statistically help youth stay out of crime and out of getting into trouble and out of unsafe environments, then hopefully they will be out of Dondale and all of those things. So I think it's brilliant.
What's that saying? You can't be what you can't see. It gives them an opportunity to see themselves in a safer, more useful space.
Have you decided what you might go and see at the cinema now the cinemas are open?
Mulan. I'm going to go see Mulan.
I don't believe anybody wants to see those Disney films that are remakes of great cartoons.
I live for nostalgia.
With live, The Lion King was just a dudder for me completely.
It was.
The first one was good. The live one, I just didn't understand why he would make it.
And then the other thing that's happening is Territory Day. That's the day that's marked in our calendars every year. So what are we going to do apart from blow stuff up? Heaps. What? Stop complaining about not being able to blow stuff up.
Yes, don't complain, Margot.
But it's exciting because they've got the Territory Countdown. So from 4 o'clock on ABC, you can listen to the top 40 Territory songs. You can go camping. Kakadoo's going to be open. I mean, not all of Kakadoo is going to be open.
And people are complaining that there's no waterfalls that are open in Kakadoo and you can't spend the night in Kakadoo.
Yeah, some of the campsites and things are opening. And
we'll get there. Let's look at the rest of the world.
Sorry.
Let's look at the rest of the world.
But I think as well, just because you can't do everything doesn't mean you can't enjoy what you do have, because there is something beautiful about going for a bushwalk through Kakadoo. That land is incredible and we are so privileged that it is a few hours away from us and that we can still access it.
And Mindle Beach Markets is also opening this Saturday, and that is super exciting.
Yeah, on Sunday, And
Palmerston Markets tonight.
Palmerston Markets tonight, and they're going to have big live music on Sunday for the opening. So
of the Mindle Beach Markets, yes.
And do you know what? We're going to go down there without Southerners, so no one's going to be clapping the sunset.
Hey, but I really enjoy when people clap the sunset.
I like you a lot, but you can't clap the sunset. The sun has just... We're the ones doing the rolling, the earth is rolling, isn't it? The sun's just chilling.
Yeah, but why can't we clap it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to put in the grumpy old man thing and say, look, I haven't been to Mindle Beach Markets for about 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I usually go to Mindle Beach Markets when I've got mates up from down south, and what I'll do is drop them at the car park and I'll say, I'll pick you up in 2 hours.
But at least the car park you'll have car parks,
This is true.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably go to the markets just because it is one without Southerners and it's the first one opening. But I think the main thing that's going to be happening over these next couple of weeks is people really going out there and enjoying stuff. If you've got young people who are on school holidays, doesn't take much to do a bit of a Google and see the school holiday programs that all the councils are running.
And like we said last week, most sports competitions will be running through the school holidays. I think basketball is not, but most sports competitions have been running. So the fields will be full of young people running around.
At least the school holidays are coinciding with sport being open so that people people can send their children to sport and all of that stuff. So there is so much happening in the Territory. We're also going to be running a competition on our Instagram and Facebook page, so please check it out. Yes, we are.
That's because you're not on Instagram, Margaret.
If I got on it, I think I'm actually a member, but I just, I don't.
See, that's the problem. You've called it a member. You're not a member of Instagram, my friend.
So stay tuned to our Instagram and Facebook page to go in the running to win a little bit of a holiday in and around the Territory. So spread the word. Thank you for tuning in. We wish we could talk to you for longer. Enjoy the week that was in the NT.